Hi everyone. My vision and my passion in life, to assist and help people, to give back to the system. I want to be that guy who always asks, how can I help you? Or how can I be to an assistance to you today? You know when I feel successful? I feel successful when I see how much my team members have grown. I feel successful when other leaders give good comments to my guys and good performance ratings. I feel successful if I train backup supervisors and I see them becoming exceptional in what they do. I feel successful if my manager speaks to me and he says, well done, Maurits. I can see a huge improvement on individual guys. Successful is not even the word. I feel valued. I feel valued for what I have accomplished and what I do. I want to take this opportunity to share something from my side, which I noticed, and I believe it can be to an enormous assistance to our people and to our units. Our systems are changing too fast. Our technology are changing even faster. We need to change with our systems. We need to be in front of the changes. We need to adapt and get new ideas to change with the systems. I like to share safety videos in my daily meetings with my teams to make them aware of the dangers, what we are working with, and to familiarize them with the things that can happen in our units. I believe the more we can display things like this, or the more information we can give our teams, the broader their knowledge will become. And they will focus on these points, not to make the same mistakes. This is why we have investigations on incidents, to gather all the data and give us all the information, what went wrong. It's the same as when you have a near miss on your unit. There must be red lights flashing everywhere to show you there is a problem. There must be an investigation on that near miss to prevent it from happening again. Because the next time you will not be so lucky that it's just a near miss. There is a lot of safety videos out there which we can use, which can be a huge gain to us if it is used in the right way. The safety videos will highlight what can go wrong and what can fail, what mistakes was made and how we can learn from these mistakes. If I was a plant owner, I definitely will implement something like this on my unit and in my company. You don't have to run safety campaigns to highlight these things to your people. You don't have to wait for your safety statistics to shoot up through the roof and then run around to find new ideas to keep it under control. Suddenly, too much near misses on one unit. And then you want to run around and start investigating what the problem is. No need. We need to highlight these things even before it happens. We need to continuously keep our fingers there to keep it under control. We need to use every opportunity we have to go around to different units and to different shifts. We need to take all our information we can get our hands on and share it with our teams. The idea is to take a safety video of an accident, incident, near miss, or just a lesson learned. Make a 30-minute to 1 hour meeting with a safety specialist, manager, operation supervisor, operation coordinator, SMEs, subject matter experts, to analyze the video and go through each point. People that will have valuable input to the outcome of the video. Because you will use all that information gathered from that meeting and have separate safety meetings with your teams on different units. We can go around to each shift in different units. Display the safety video of 10 to 20 minutes long and then have a discussion on it. It can be done weekly or monthly. I'm 110% certain that our guys will learn so much more. They will take more from this video than an email that was sent. They will be more vigilant when doing things in their unit or on the console. That red flashing light I was talking about must activate in our heads even before it happens. It must activate immediately and tell us this is the wrong method. Stop now. Have a look at this safety video and let's see how many things could have been prevented.
The U.S. Chemical Safety Board is developing a new interactive training application focused on OSHA's Process Safety Management, or PSM, regulation. The training will cover the 14 elements of PSM, using the 2005 explosion at BP's Texas City refinery as a model. Look for it soon at csb.gov. March 23, 2005, the BP refinery in Texas City, Texas. Several units at the refinery had been shut down for lengthy maintenance projects, which required nearly 1,000 contractors to be on site, along with BP employees. BP had positioned a number of portable trailers close to process units for the use of contractors and other maintenance workers. Over a period of months, BP had located 10 trailers for workers servicing the Ultra Cracker unit, including a double-wide wood-frame trailer that contained 11 offices and was regularly used for meetings. Though these trailers were located near the isomerization unit, the occupants were not warned the ISOM unit was about to start up, a potentially hazardous operation. At 2:15 a.m. on March 23rd, overnight operators began introducing flammable liquid hydrocarbons, known as raffinate, into a 170-foot-tall raffinate splitter tower used to distill and separate gasoline components. Near the base of the tower, there was a single instrument that measured how much liquid was inside. It transmitted this information to both a satellite control room and a central control room located away from the ISOM unit. But this level indicator was not designed to measure liquid above the 9-foot mark. During normal operation, the tower was only supposed to contain about 6½ feet of liquid. But during startups, operators routinely deviated from written procedures and filled the tower above the 9-foot mark, concerned that if the liquid level fluctuated too low, it would cause costly damage to the furnace. At 3:09 a.m., as the liquid neared the 8-foot mark, a high-level alarm activated and sounded in the control rooms. But a second high-level alarm, slightly further up the tower, failed to go off. By 3:30 a.m., the level indicator showed that liquid had filled the bottom 9 feet of the tower and the feed was stopped. The CSB later estimated that the liquid was in fact at a height of 13 feet, but operators could not know the actual level because the indicator only measured up to 9 feet. The lead operator had been overseeing the startup from a satellite control room within the ISOM unit. At 5 a.m., he briefly updated the night board operator in the central control room about the startup activities. The lead operator then left the refinery early, an hour before the end of the shift. A new board operator arrived in the control room around 6 a.m. to start his 30th day in a row working a 12-hour shift. He spoke briefly with the departing night shift operator and then read the logbook to prepare for the startup. But the logbook did not clearly indicate how much liquid was already in the tower and equipment, and it left no instructions on routing of the liquid feed and products when the startup resumed. Instead, the control board operator only found a one-line logbook entry that said ISOM brought in some raft to unit to pack RAF with. At 7:15 a.m., the day shift supervisor arrived. Because he was more than an hour late, he received no formal briefing from personnel on the night shift about conditions in the ISOM unit. At 9:51 a.m., operators resumed the startup. They began recirculating the liquid feed and adding more liquid to the already overfilled tower. As new feed was added, startup procedures called for regulating the liquid level in the tower using the automatic level control valve. But the board operator and others had received conflicting instructions on routing the product. As a result, this critical valve was left closed for several hours, blocking the flow of liquid from the tower. A few minutes later, operators lit burners on the furnace to begin heating up the feed, part of the normal startup process. While the startup was underway, the day supervisor left the refinery on short notice, just before 11 a.m., to attend to a family medical emergency. Contrary to BP's own procedures, no experienced supervisor was assigned to replace him. This left a single control board operator, now without a qualified supervisor, to run 3 refinery units, including the ISOM unit, which needed close attention. The refinery had eliminated a second board operator position following corporate budget cuts in 1999 after BP acquired Amoco. As the startup continued, the tower steadily filled with liquid, reaching a height of 98 feet shortly before noon, more than 15 times the normal level. But the improperly calibrated level indicator told operators in the control room that the liquid was at 8.4 feet and gradually falling. Furthermore, the control panel was not configured to clearly warn operators of the growing danger. It did not display flows into and out of the tower on the same screen, nor did it calculate the total liquid in the tower. Meanwhile, the maintenance contractors, who were not involved in the operation of the ISOM unit, left their work trailers to attend a company lunch, celebrating a month without a lost time injury. At 12:41 p.m., an alarm activated as the rising liquid compressed the gases remaining in the top of the tower. Unable to understand the source of the high pressure, operators opened a manual chain valve to vent gases to the unit's emergency relief system, a 1950s-era blowdown drum that vented vapor directly into the atmosphere. Operators also turned off 2 burners in the furnace to lower the temperature inside the tower, believing this would reduce the pressure. Nobody knew the tower was dangerously full. The operators did become concerned about the lack of flow out of the tower and began opening the valve to send liquid from the bottom of the tower to storage tanks. But this liquid was very hot. As it flowed through the heat exchanger, it suddenly raised the temperature of the liquid entering high up the tower by 141 degrees Fahrenheit. It was now about 1 p.m. Contract workers, unaware of the startup and the looming danger, returned from lunch and began a meeting in the double-wide trailer, in the corner room closest to the blowdown drum. Over the next few minutes, the hot feed entering the tower caused the liquid inside to start to boil and swell. Liquid filled the tower completely and began spilling into the overhead vapor line, exerting great pressure on the emergency relief valves 150 feet below. At 1:14 p.m., the 3 emergency valves opened, sending nearly 52,000 gallons of flammable liquid to the blowdown drum at the other end of the ISOM unit. Liquid rose inside the blowdown drum and overflowed into a process sewer, setting off alarms in the control room. But the high-level alarm on the blowdown drum failed to go off. None of the operators knew of the catastrophe unfolding in the ISOM unit. As flammable hydrocarbons overfilled the blowdown drum, operators nearby saw a geyser of liquid and vapor erupt from the top of the stack. The equivalent of nearly a tanker truck full of hot gasoline fell to the ground and began forming a huge flammable vapor cloud. The vapor cloud expanded in just 90 seconds, engulfing the unit and the nearby trailers full of workers. About 25 feet from the base of the blowdown drum, 2 workers were parked in a pickup truck with the engine idling. As flammable vapor entered the air intake, the diesel engine began to race. The 2 workers fled, unable to shut off the engine. Moments later, witnesses saw the truck backfire and ignite the vapor cloud. Powerful explosions swept through the area. The blast pressure wave accelerated through the ISOM unit, causing heavy destruction and igniting fires. The workers inside the trailers were right in the path of the explosions. The fires continued to burn for hours. 12 of the 20 occupants of the double-wide trailer were killed, along with 3 workers in a trailer nearby. 180 workers were injured, many with serious burns, fractures, or other traumatic injuries. The wood and metal frame trailers were blown apart by the blasts. Firefighters struggled to rescue the injured and recover the victims. 50 large chemical storage tanks were damaged, and the ISOM unit remained shut down for more than 2 years. The disaster at BP Texas City was the most serious refinery accident ever investigated by the CSB.
This disaster was one of the most serious refinery accidents ever seen. I'm truly very sorry for anyone who lost someone in this accident. Unfortunately, we need to use this information in this video to prevent anything like this from reoccurring. You know, after showing my team this video, the reaction was, whoa, too many mistakes. Not just 1, not 2, but I think if I count everything, my hands will be full. Let's see. They mentioned only 1 level transmitter. They didn't mention any level glass to check if the level transmitter and level glass was corresponding. There is only 1 transmitter, not 3 like we are used to. If 1 transmitter fails, you have another 2 transmitters to count on. Instrumentation is very critical to us, and we need to ensure that it's always in good working condition. When instrumentation going IOP or out of range, the best thing to do is calibration or double checking inside and outside if it's corresponding with each other. If going IOP, there is a chance of transmitter to freeze and giving wrong indication. Number 2, actually this is one of the red lights I told you about previously, which had to be flashing for a long time before this incident happened. Normal operating level is 6.5 feet, but during startups, they routinely deviate from written procedure. SOP guys, standard operating procedures. There is a reason why we print it during startups and shutdowns. There are reasons we follow these guidelines. There are reasons why we evaluate SOPs every 2 or 3 years to continuously improve ourselves and to keep our systems updated all the time. Number 3, the tower was filled above the high level. Now we come to COPs, critical control parameters. You have high and low limits where you need to operate your parameters. I get frustrated if I see a red indication or red level on the console. It means something is wrong or we are not operating it correctly. Going above the high level, there must be trips. ESD systems must be in place to shut off the feed or shut down the steam to the start. Level high needs to trip the feed to protect it from overfilling. It needs to trip close to steam or the reboiling because there is possibilities of damaging the internals of the screw. Level low is supposed to trip the bottom pump shutoff valve to protect the pumps and the equipment. Number 4. First high level alarm sounded. Feed was not stopped. Second high level alarm failed to go off. Before startups, we have instrument teams doing trip checks on equipment and checking that all instrumentation is working good. Operation, instrument, electrical, maintenance teams. All disciplines will sign off the PSSR safety review and startup packages. Clearance for operation will be signed before introducing any hydrocar to the unit. I believe this is a must. Number 5, the lead board operator left 1 hour before his shift ended without a relief. If you have a startup and you are 11 hours at work, believe me, there is a lot of information you need to give the next person that will come in. Even during normal operations, this cannot be allowed. See, leaving early without a relief or coming in late, for me this is a huge behavioral issue. Huge. It's something you can change, but instead you tend to look the other way. Instead you think your work is a joke and you don't care for it. If you are late for work, then you are loading all your responsibilities to other guys who is there on time. People need to take care of your area of work, which is overloading them at the end of the day. Guys, there are a reason we have minimum manpower that is needed to run this unit. If you are late for work, it means to me that you didn't even take shift handover or get shifted. I'm not talking about the guy that came late once in the last 5 years because he had a real issue. I'm talking about guys that have made a habit and taking advantage of the systems. People routinely or daily come in. Never think you are extra. You have responsibility and accountability to your unit and to your company and to your colleagues. You need to be at work on time every time. Number 6, the board operator which came in worked 30 days in a row. You need rest of it. You need to recover from all the activities and stress you are getting daily. You cannot work or continue 30 days. Work and work and work. There are government rules, I think 6 days on, 1 day off, or 12 days on, 2 days off. Number 7, the logbook and handover book didn't contain the level of the tower. It didn't indicate the time feed was introduced or the time feed was stopped to this. It didn't indicate any instruction to be followed. There was one sentence in that logbook, which for me didn't really have any contribution to the story. I always ask my guys to write as much as possible. Get a small notebook on the outside and write down your daily activities. Because you're going to get busy and you're going to forget about it. My console guys, if they implement something or change something on the DCS, they write it down immediately in the logbook with the exact time. Don't wait until 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock and then rush the logbook. Every detail, what you do inside and outside, is very important. Number 8, the day shift supervisor was more than an hour late. He didn't get any briefing on the startup activities. You are leading a shift. You have a huge responsibility. Everyone always asks me, why are you so early for work? I like to leave 20 to 30 minutes before my shift starts. Let me tell you why I come early. I get a better handover. I receive a detailed report. It is quieter if coming early because there is no noise or anyone else that is relieving. It's only me and the other supervisor. The time my team arrives, I'm already in working mode. All my documentation printed and instructions for the daily activities is in place, ready to have a quick 15-minute safety meeting and plant update with my team. I get 10 to 15 minutes interaction with a different shift. Other guys, which actually I only see when handover is done. Getting to know the guys a bit better and making some conversations with them. It's always good to have a good, positive relationship with all team members. Number 9. There was some conflict. There was some conflicting instructions, which led to leave some system valves in a closed position and not pumping out any liquid. During startups, it's really important to have a startup schedule and follow startup recommendations and guidelines. Markup P and IDs ready, lineups done, systems ready to take feed. We always have process engineers with us when starting up. It makes it easier for us because they have a lot of input and assistance during startups. Having that process engineer next to you will be an extra pair of eyes on your system. This is the guys I need during a startup. I need people with input to the process, which can assist me at all times. Having 2 supervisors during startups and shutdowns is even more contributing to the system. Do you know how much pressure and workload you remove from one guy if there is 2 supervisors? If you have a huge unit, one guy runs the activities on the one side and the other runs the activities on the other side. Continuously communicating with each other when getting hiccups or any issues on the system and rectifying it immediately. You have a smoother, safer and better startup with 2 supervisors at work because there is continuous monitoring, continuous progress and continuous assistance everywhere. I always tell my guys, don't rush things. Start up safe, slowly. It will be better to rather have some progress in your startup than having no progress. Rushing things leads to trip situations, and trip situations are going to put your startup plan behind with a few hours or even days. Number 10. The day shift supervisor left at 11 a.m. due to a family emergency. Unfortunately, this can happen to us all, right? You have a family medical emergency and need to leave to assist or help ASAP. It happens. It happened to me last week. Started my shift 5:30 p.m. 7 p.m. I received a call that my 4-year-old son broken his arm. I'm in a different country than my own. My wife cannot drive here. She doesn't know anyone. I made adjustments on my manpower. I pulled out one guy from the console who knows all 4 areas and are suitable for backup supervisor. I ensured to have all my console areas covered inside with competent console operators. I had enough manpower outside as well. I made a call to my direct line manager, my operation coordinator. I informed him about my situation and also informed him what changes I've made. He took it over from there. Even though I covered all my areas, he still made calls and assisted to get a competent and qualified supervisor to help out. You know, I always fight. No, wait, that's not the right word. I always argue. I argue when manpower gets cut. You do not cut operation manpower. You cannot run these plants on low manpower. You need to have at least 1 or 2 guys extra on each shift, which you can move around and use anywhere, anytime. If you have extra guys, you can have more training inside and outside. You can continuously improve people in different areas and in different positions. You can continuously build backup supervisors and console operators and get them ready for the future. If someone is sick, it means your unit will be covered without any overtime because the shift is full and competent guys everywhere. You actually need to have those extra guys. If you lose someone or some people due to resignation, then you are already covered. You have people in place to cover these posts because they are competent and know your unit already. No need to make any shift changes or any organization changes due to resignations. We need that extra guys. We need that extra hands. They are always useful. You don't need your guys to be overworked and overstressed. In our line of work, we need people that is focused 24/7. My hands is full, and there is way more to analyze from this video. How many of these faults are currently in your unit? How many red lights flashing around you? This is the things to be rectified. You know what? I believe that these guys would want us to analyze this and have discussions with our teams. They will want us to convey the message so nothing like this happens again. We owe it to all of them to learn all we can from and take as much as possible information from what we can get out of it. If I come to work, I leave behind my family. I have a beautiful family, guys. I leave behind my wife, my baby daughter, and my 2 sons. I leave my home to come to work because I have responsibilities. But the moment I give that first step at work, that moment I clock in at the gate, I come to my other family, my team members, my colleagues, my friends, my brothers, my other family. I have a responsibility towards them. You must remember, I don't just see my team members as my family. I work with different teams. I count you all as my family because I care. If I raise any safety concern or send any email for things that I believe is not right, it's not to add any work to maintenance plans. It's not to blame the other party. It's not an email sent for performance reasons. I raise a concern because I have a responsibility towards the 15 to 20 subordinates under me. I raise a concern because I have an accountability towards the 4 units next to me, which will also be affected. If I make a decision on my unit, I don't just think about my unit, but I think what the effect will be on the upstream and downstream units. Guys, I don't highlight these things to bring back any pain or any memories. I don't highlight it to point out the faults. I also have a lot of faults in my life. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm a human being and we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but what matters is that we learn from them. I've made plenty. But I assure you that every fault, every mistake that I've made or made in my life, I inform my team not to do it that way. There is better ways to do it. Do it this way. Change this. Adjust this. Open this valve first before opening here. Cut back or ensure this valve is fully closed before resetting the shuttle valve. Ensure to double check your system on the outside and not just taking the information from the handover. Fill up this line slowly to prevent any hammering or any flow disturbance to your systems. Make sure this pump takes the load before fully changing over. I highlight this because there is a lot of lessons one can learn from one incident. We can use that information now. We need to use that information. I've done a lot of safety courses during my 18 years of operation. You will do at least 3 or 4 safety courses a year in your company. I went out of my own, took some leave, done Samtrack safety course on my own time. It's an internationally recognized safety course, a 3 weeks advanced safety course, which focus on occupational health, safety and environment. I will actually recommend it for all process operators. It's an excellent course. I went even further to improve myself. I have done program in safety management. This was a one-year subject through University of South Africa to obtain even more knowledge about safety in the workplace. It covers and consists of introduction to safety management, assess safety risks, manage safety in the workplace, analyze safety incidents, incident investigation, and root cause analysis courses. Oh, excellent courses. Excellent. I've done it through my previous company. I believe this is a must for safety representatives, supervisors, and upwards. It will give you a good introduction on how to go about and what to do, what to look for. You will be able to independently investigate simple incidents, gather evidence, conducting witness interviews, produce an action plan to prevent the reoccurrence of an incident, contribute to team investigation for large-scale incidents, positively impact the safety culture in your organization. One of my responsibilities as a production supervisor is that we focus all the time on safety in our units. This is really a critical topic for us. Safety and production goes hand in hand. Safety is as equally important to us as production. You need to remember one thing. If I start a business today, it's not me that will benefit from that business. My children and their children will benefit. We mustn't just think for ourselves. We need to do something and build something for the next generation, for the new guys that will run these units in a few years, making that bottom foundation even stronger than it is currently. I need you to work smart. I need you to take care of each other. We are one family, one team. I don't go home if you don't go. You will notice I do things different. I tend to do a lot of things different. Different is good, right? Different mindset can change how you see things in life. Is this glass half full of water? Or is it half empty? Or does one just say the glass is half filled with water? It's how you see it. Your PSM systems are in place, right? Process safety management systems. A framework that is implemented for managing the integrity of operating systems and processes that handle hazardous substances. To prevent unplanned releases of hazardous material or energy. To prevent structural failure or loss of stability that could lead to a major incident. Yes, PSM systems is in place, but it doesn't mean we must stop there. What are you doing to keep it there? We need to do more. We need to keep our finger there. We need to give back to the system. We need to give as much as possible information to our people. You learn more from something you see visual than reading 3 or 4 pages. If you implement something like this, do not just send an email for your information and discussion with your teams. No. If you are going to talk the talk, you better need to walk the walk as well. If you want this to work and contribute to the process and to the success of your company, then you need the same person that was in the meeting, in that safety meeting, where you analyze the safety video, to have the discussion with your teams. You need to use one person or one team to convey the message to your units, to have exactly the same message to all your units, and to ensure they see the critical information shared. Thanks for listening. Please work safe and keep safe. Keep this space open. Only good things